first off, thanks to the Bonne Terre staff for all of your support and assistance tonight as we just met you. Some of you aren't even 25 years old, I don't believe, so it's a long time in coming. I'd like to first thank the tireless efforts of the law enforcement officers Richard Plummer, Michael Miller, and Jill Jesselhaus, along with the victim's advocate Brenda Porter, who was our families and especially our mother's steady support through the years, and Kimberly Evans, the Victim Services Coordinator for Missouri Department of Corrections, who has offered all her support and time preparing for the today. Also to Governor Nixon and Attorney General Koster for staying the course, upholding and fighting for victims' rights, and supporting the people's choice for the death penalty. My attempt to give a brief statement about this event in the past 25 years can never explain the overall effect this senseless and brutal murder has had on so many people. Jill was a tremendous person. Daughter, sister, aunt, godmother, cousin, teacher, and friend. To go back 25 years, almost to the day, when we received the tragic news, to what has taken us through 3 trials over the next 10 years, then waiting another 15 years for the courts to set an execution date, has, needless to say, had an undeniable impact on Jill's family and friends. Over this period of time, several of our family members have passed away, including both our mother and father. From the outset, this tragedy took its toll on our father. He passed away shortly after the 3rd trial, and unfortunately his quality of life went from bad to worse beginning that dreadful day, February 5th, 1990, when he lost his oldest daughter. Our mother passed away in 2011, 6 months after we finally received the news that the U.S. Supreme Court denied his final appeal. Mom and Dad's life, for the most part, reverted to following every step of the case, hoping to find closure to this sad and devastating ordeal. Mom compiled over 10 binders, which stacked 3 feet tall, of everything related to the 3 trials, countless appeals, hearings, and opinions, etc. After Dad's death, Mom devoted the rest of her life to seeing this through. She was always fearful this animal would be free to kill another innocent woman. Just to give you a rundown of what our family had to endure over the past 25 years. February 5th, 1990, the tragic news. 1991, the initial trial. Convicted of first-degree murder and armed criminal action, second-degree burglary, and tampering with evidence. Sentenced to death. 1995, Missouri Supreme Court affirmed the convictions, but reversed and remanded the death penalty sentence due to ineffective counsel. 1997, second jury trial, and again, the sentence was death penalty. Missouri Supreme Court again reversed and remanded the death sentence because the trial judge failed to properly instruct the jury. 1999, third jury trial again recommended the death sentence. The next year, unfortunately, our father passed away after 10 years of pain and suffering. 2001, the Missouri Supreme Court affirmed the death penalty. 2010, U.S. 8th District Court rejected all appeals. 2011, finally, the U.S. Supreme Court denied all appeals. 6 months later, our mother passed away without achieving her goal. Of seeing this through. 2015, February the 11th, the time has come and now passed. Jill was buried on February 9th, 1990, 25 years and 2 days ago. We know Jill, Mom, Dad, and all our family and friends are relieved that this is finally over and justice has been served. Unfortunately, we have had to endure and suffer through all the countless delays and retrials when there was absolutely no doubt that 2 days after this brutal murder took place, they had the right guy, a guy that we can truly call a terrorist. It is sad that the courts play politics and protect murderers when surveys show that from 60 to 70% of Americans support the death penalty. but the system allowed this terrorist to beat it for 25 years. It is sad all the lawsuits and dollars wasted over the drugs used in carrying out these executions. The people of the state of Missouri, like the majority of states, have voted for the death penalty. So why are we arguing over what is cruel and unusual punishment of a murderer, of a terrorist? Why do we continue to allow the argument about the secretive process of obtaining and using lethal injection drugs? Is it because this process might cause a brutal murderer to suffer a painful death? What is a painful death? What is cruel and unusual punishment? It is a twitch of the finger? Is it a squinting of an eyelid? Is it a curling of a savage killer's toes? Or maybe violent tremors of the body for several minutes? Or is cruel and unusual punishment when a man breaks into a woman's home in the middle of the night while she is in bed, proceeds to brutally beat and assault her, breaks 6 ribs, hit her in the face and the head 12 times, suffering injuries to her forehead, nose, cheek, scalp, lips, tongue, and even tore her eyelid off. She had defensive wounds to her arms and hands, abrasions to her knee, a 6-inch stab wound to the abdomen, and 4 internal impact injuries to her head, all before she lost consciousness. What is cruel and unusual punishment? Is it a minimum of 20 blows to Jill's body before cutting her throat to her spine? Jill died of blood loss and asphyxiation from not 1, but 2 6-inch cuts across her throat, cutting through both of her jugular veins, her airway, her esophagus, and into her spine. If not enough, he then threw her off the bed, stomped on her back so hard it broke her shoulder blade. Along with all the evidence, blood, fingerprints, etc., a deep shoe print stamped in Jill's nightshirt and back. The shoes were found under his bed. So what is cruel and unusual punishment? Is it a little sting when the IV needle goes in the arm, or burning sensation when the drug is flowing into the veins? Or is it going back into the victim's apartment the next day, trying to wipe everything down of all fingerprints, and even using her own toothbrush to clean under her fingernails because, while struggling for her life, Jill took fingernails full of skin from his chest? What is cruel and unusual punishment? We just witnessed a terrorist close his eyes and go to sleep. Now let's remember the kind of death Jill experienced. This guy had a choice many times through that dreadful night. He could have stolen the keys, the money, and left. But to have a knife with him and do what he decided to do, he has now paid the price for those choices. Everyone makes decisions in their life, and unfortunately the night his choice was to end Jill's life in the most brutal manner. Why are we so concerned about cruel and unusual punishment when executing a brutal murderer? This guy had no mercy on Jill, but now we expect to have mercy on him. Jill did not deserve this brutal attack. She made all the right choices in her short life of 36 years. She dedicated her life to special needs children and their families. Her goal was to mainstream special needs children into a regular classroom. She always volunteered for Easter SEAL camps, Special Olympics, and several other related organizations. Jill has a memorial scholarship in her honor presented every year to a senior at Highland High School in Highland, Illinois. A memorial garden was built at United Services in St. Charles, Missouri, where Jill was teaching before her death. An annual Memorial Leadership Award is presented to a Special Olympic athlete in her name. Jill also received several awards while living her dream and applying herself to the fullest in her profession. One that meant much to her was being named the Outstanding Young Educator by the Illinois JCs. But most of all, she was a loving, caring, and giving person, and everyone she came in touch with became a better person having known her. Jill, we are so proud of you and your love and dedication to everything and everyone you believed in. To say Jill was a special person is an understatement. Having Jill taken from us not only affected her family and friends' lives, but all the special needs children that she taught and loved. All the children she could have taught and been enriched by her love. Her never-ending desire to give of herself always. This world lost a very special and beautiful person. So, the execution brings a sense of closure to a part of this unspeakable tragedy in our lives. It will not bring Jill back. Nor will it ever lessen the pain and suffering we go through every day. Going through 3 trials has etched in our memory everything that happened to Jill that night. We can never erase the thoughts of the struggle Jill endured trying to survive. We will never forget. Just think for a moment, if this attack happened to your family, or even one of your friends, how would this affect your family? What would you consider justice under the law? This guy had a choice, and now his sentence has been carried out according to the law, but in a very peaceful way compared to what he did to Jill. After 25 years, we now can try and close this chapter. We do not have to worry about another trial or appeal, lawsuits, or anything else. We hope by hearing our tragic story of the people of this country will push to change this process and stop this lengthy lawsuits and appeals. 25 years is tragic. Jill, Mom, Dad, and all the rest of our family are at your side. We know you're here and you saw it through with us. We know you are finally at peace. We, all family and friends, can only hope to find that same peace and begin to go on with our lives. We all know you are forever at our side until that day when we meet again. We miss you all each and every day. Thank you.